Everyone knows the Titanic. 1,500 people, an icy ocean, a story told so many times it became the definition of disaster. But 47 years before the Titanic sank, an American steamboat exploded on the Mississippi River. By some counts, it killed more people. They were soldiers, prisoners of war, men who had survived the worst camps of the Civil War, and were finally going home. It is still the deadliest maritime disaster in American history, and there's a very good chance you have never heard its name. Its name was Sultana. April 1865. The American Civil War is ending. Across the South, prison camps are opening their gates. Places with names that had become synonyms for suffering. Andersonville, Cahaba. The men walking out of them barely resemble soldiers anymore. Months of starvation, disease. Some weigh less than 100 pounds. But the war is over, and every one of them is thinking about exactly one thing: home. Thousands of these men are marched to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where the government has a deal waiting. Steamboat companies will carry the freed prisoners north, up the Mississippi, and the government will pay for every single man delivered. $5 for each enlisted soldier, $10 for each officer. Remember those numbers, because for the men, this river is the road home. For the boat owners, it's a payday. The Sultana is 2 years old, a 260-foot side-wheel steamboat built in Cincinnati, one of the finest on the river. Her legal capacity printed right on her certificate: 376 people. Her captain, J. Cass Mason, isn't just her captain. He's part owner. Every soldier who boards is money in his own pocket. There's just one problem. On the way to Vicksburg, one of the Sultana's 4 boilers starts leaking. A boilermaker comes aboard and delivers his verdict. The damaged plates need to be replaced. That's days of work, days in which 2,000 paying passengers would simply board someone else's boat. So Mason gives the order that seals everything that follows. Don't replace it, patch it. A thin strip of metal hammered over the leak. A proper repair could wait until the end of the run. And then the loading begins, and it doesn't stop. Other steamboats are sitting at Vicksburg, ready to share the load. They leave with almost no one. Through deals, bribery, and chaos in a corrupt supply office, virtually the entire camp of freed prisoners is funneled onto one boat. When the Sultana pulls away, she is carrying roughly 2,400 people on a boat certified for 376, 6 times her legal limit. The decks visibly sag under the weight, and the crew props them up with wooden beams. There is exactly one photograph of the Sultana like this, taken at Helena, Arkansas, one day before the end. Men cover every rail, every deck, every surface. Most of them have less than 24 hours to live. April 27th, 1865, 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 miles north of Memphis. The Mississippi is in spring flood. Miles wide in places, the current heavy and cold. The Sultana's engines are straining against it. 4 boilers running hard under the weight of 6 times too many bodies, including 1 boiler held together by a patch. Most of the men are asleep, packed so tightly that some are lying on the decks between strangers' boots. At 2 a.m., the patch boiler lets go. The explosion rips 2 more boilers with it and tears the center out of the boat in a single instant. Scalding steam and shrapnel cut through the crowded decks. The twin smokestacks come down onto sleeping men. And then the fire starts. And a wooden steamboat in 1865 is nothing but fuel. Survivors described a choice with no good answer: stay aboard and burn, or jump. Starved, exhausted, many unable to swim, into a flooding river in the dark, so crowded with drowning men that they pulled each other under. The Sultana burned to the waterline in about 20 minutes. Downstream, through the rest of that night, the city of Memphis woke to men calling for help from the water. Rescuers pulled survivors out until dawn. Hundreds of those rescued were so badly scalded and burned that they died in the days that followed. Men who escaped Andersonville, escaped the explosion, escaped the river, and still never made it home. So how does the deadliest maritime disaster in American history just disappear? Timing. 12 days earlier, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. The country is in mourning. The manhunt for John Wilkes Booth has gripped every newspaper in America. And on April 26th, the very day before the Sultana exploded, Booth was cornered and killed. When the boat went down, every front page in the country was already spoken for. A nation exhausted by 4 years of war had no room left for one more tragedy, especially one whose victims were poor Midwestern soldiers, dying not in glorious battle, but by accident on their way home. The story didn't just fade, it was never really told. Even the death toll was neglected. Early official counts and later research disagree to this day. Somewhere between about 1,200 and 1,800 dead. Think about that. More people than died on the Titanic, possibly. And history never even settled on the number. The counting tells you everything about how much attention the world was paying and what happened to the men responsible. Captain Mason never faced a court. He died on his own boat that night. The army officers who funneled 2,000 men onto a single damaged steamboat were investigated. And in the end, no one was ever punished for the deaths of over 1,000 soldiers. But the Sultana did leave a legacy, just a quiet one. Public outrage from engineers and rivermen fed a movement for boiler safety laws, stronger inspection, better valves. The rules that make a modern pressure vessel one of the safest machines you'll never think about were written, in part, in the wreckage of boats like this one. As for the Sultana herself, the Mississippi finished the story in the strangest way possible. Over the decades, the river moved. It carved itself a new channel and abandoned the old one. Today, the wreck of the deadliest maritime disaster in American history is believed to lie not underwater at all, but buried in the mud beneath an Arkansas farm field, miles from the water that killed her. The Titanic got the movies, the memorials, the immortality. The Sultana got a soybean field. This is the first story in a series about disasters that history buried, not because they were small, but because something bigger was standing in front of them. If you want to know what else got erased, the next one sank in 14 minutes. Subscribe. You'll want to remember this one.